perhaps the Arizona Diamondbacks got to see a tryout tonight from another young pitcher that they could potentially target at the trade deadline, depending on what these St. Louis Cardinals do. Jordan Hicks might be a name that the Diamondbacks look into, and after watching him throw 100 miles an hour effortlessly for an inning, I kind of am on board with it.
Yep.
However, he wasn't great tonight, so I'm not trying to base everything on tonight, but let's take a look at Jordan Hicks' stats this season, because he's been pretty good as a relief pitcher for the Cardinals.
Yeah, the numbers aren't quite as shiny as maybe you'd hope for. A 3.76 ERA. That's pretty decent. A 1.50 whip, that's less decent. 40.2 innings this year. He does have, I believe, 8 saves, 12.8 Ks per 9. The swing and miss ability is big, 5.1 walks per 9. His command is a little shaky at times. And talking about peripherals, again, his FIP is 2.99. So there are reasons to believe that Jordan Hicks really could be a solid back-end arm. Sean, I don't know how you felt necessarily about what you saw today, though. It wasn't the most pristine ninth inning.
Not the most pristine, no. But I mean, I just like the idea of having the kind of just that power out of the back of the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, I think some of the peripherals there suggest that he could be a pretty solid pitcher. And like, I mean, let's be real about the Cardinals. Like, nothing has gone well for them this year. Very little, at least. So, like, I mean, Arenado's been pretty good, but like by and large, a lot has not gone well for this team. So you have to hope that you maybe put him with maybe a better pitching coach, maybe just a better staff in general. At this point, he's able to have an even better second half of the season if he were to be traded here. But yeah, he's certainly an intriguing arm to me, especially with the current state of this bullpen.
I do know, I think Dave Baptista in the chat said it. He said 103 mile per hour isn't all. We already have a guy, in fact, 2 guys that can throw that hard and didn't work.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we talk about, though, a lot is command, right? And to be able to throw 100 plus miles per hour and be able to command it is much different than just being able to simply throw it. And I think that's what we've seen out of the young guys within the Diamondbacks organization, is a lack of command when it comes to that power. Jordan Hicks looks a bit more like he can control it, and yeah, maybe you get him with a Brent Strom or whatever. Maybe you can see him harness that. I don't know if just simply comparing him to other power arms is right, because he's been able to do it at a major league level and been fairly successful. And let's take a look at some of those pros and cons, because that's the stuff we're zeroing in on. He's a closer. And that is something at this point that I think all of us are ready to see, is the Diamondbacks have an actual closer. And like I said, maybe a Scott McGuff as a setup man in the 8th inning, depending if you want to go that route. That 101 mile per hour average, pretty nice. And he gets a lot of ground balls.
Yeah, he has a career 60% ground ball rate, which is always pretty cool. Like, if you have a reliever throws 101 and gets a lot of swing and miss and also keeps the ball on the ground, that's a winning combination. And it's why you can have a 1.5 whip and have an ERA under 4. It's because a lot of those are, singles. A lot of that contact is on the ground. On the con side, he has been a little inconsistent. You would think that with his quality of stuff, he would be a pretty elite back-end arm. Just has never really been that guy. I believe he had a pretty good year last year, but on the whole in his career, he's basically been a league average pitcher. He really hasn't been that great. This year, he's been better than that for sure. Command has been a bit of an issue, as we said before. And he's also just a rental. He's just through the end of this season, which maybe brings the price down a little bit, but we'll have to see how the market develops. You're probably still paying a little bit more than you would like to. I will say that while Jordan Hicks' command is not great, I still wouldn't put him in the same category as like a Justin Martinez or a Carlos Vargas. Like, those guys are just not really major league caliber pitchers at this point, at least from what we've seen. Jordan Hicks is a proven major league caliber pitcher who does walk a few more guys than you like, but his command is good enough to be effective in a way that just hasn't been for those guys.
So what is it going to take to get a Jordan Hicks? Is it going to take much, considering he's a rental?
Well, we don't know, but we took a guess, and here's the guess that I came up with today. It's the Diamondbacks getting Jordan Hicks from the Cardinals and trading away right-handed pitcher Slade Ciccone and right-handed pitcher Michael Otanez, who's a 26-year-old, I believe, down in Double-A. The biggest get here would be Slade Ciccone, a name that we've talked about on the show a decent amount. He's in AAA right now. Is putting up decent numbers there. Projects as probably a back end starter, maybe a reliever when it's all said and done. That might feel like an overpay in itself. I mean, like controllable 6 years of a potential number 4, number 5 starter. Maybe you don't love giving that up for half a year of a back end reliever. But if you think you're going to get this guy for, just Michael Otanez or, just like a couple prospects that you haven't heard of, that's probably not going to happen. Jordan Hicks is a good enough reliever, well established enough in this game. The Cardinals aren't just going to give him away for nothing.
And I mean, the reality is that one trade is not going to fix this team, right? Like you need more than just one bullpen arm or whatever. So if this is a trade in the midst of a bunch of other trades that makes this team significantly better, like it's a lot easier to live with. Whereas if their one move at the deadline is getting rid of Ciccone for Hicks, who then it's like, what are we doing there?
Yeah, that's not enough to move the needle. So, I mean, it makes you feel a little bit more confident because hopefully if they do make that move, Torey makes that pivot himself to go to a closer role, and maybe we see things kind of, some consistency, just some, just the ability to hold a game without giving up runs, And
let's be real, the chat has been all over Torey. If you have a consistent closer and a consistent setup guy, your decision's made. Like you get to the 8th inning, you go to McGuff. You get to the 9th inning, you go to Hicks or whoever or Bednar or whatever closer they acquire if they acquire one. Like it's going to be a lot harder to criticize Torey on that point because he's kind of has his decision made for him.